good. So is everybody into the Nearpod? For those of you that are going to be viewing this as a recorded method, your Nearpod has been assigned by Ms. Garcia. All you're going to do is log into that Nearpod, disregard the code that you might see on my screen. Uh, Whatever is the one she assigned, it is at your own pace, but you're going to follow at the same speed with what we're doing in determining answers. So for you guys at home that are following the recording, this is going to be for a grade. This is a test grade for all of you guys. It's essentially your freebie. If you participate, you do it. It's an easy 100. It's not about getting them all right, you know. So this is actually going to help your grade because it'll be easy 100 as long as we complete it. And that's why everybody here, their video's on. You guys don't see the video, but I'm seeing everybody at home because I have to ensure that we are participating. So everybody at home, are you guys signed in to the Nearpod? Do you guys still need the link? Anybody that came in late?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're good. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so we start the EOC review. So here we go. The picture shows bean-shaped glands called nodes. The clusters of cells in nodes include macrophages that break down viruses and other potentially harmful material. So we can continue reading through that. So just read that little paragraph and I'm going to explain some things. So if you click on the image, so you make it big, what you need to understand is it looks like a tree branch, right? Somebody just came in. Who is it? Elijah Pintos. Okay, so let me just get him in here and share the link with him. So what you are seeing right now, it looks like branches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is your lymph nodes. We covered this when we talked about the immune system and lymphatic system. They tend to be labeled as green or colored as green, right? In the lymphatic system, and we have plenty of them. These are the ones that you feel when they're checking you around the neck. So they're doing this to you, and they're checking you. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for those lymph nodes. And what they do is that's the drainage system. So what does a drainage system take care of? Waste product. In this case, what's the biggest waste that we want to ensure we destroy? Well, bacteria and
La
viruses.
grasa.
Yeah. So any microorganism that's coming into your body, la grasa, no, not la grasa. So the microorganisms that we're trying to destroy is what this system is used for. So remember, in the lymph nodes, we store lymphocytes T and some B, right? Some of the memory ones in there. And what we're trying to do is destroy these. Well, when we do this, and actually Jose's joining us. Give me a second because the other Elijah actually probably thought that he was in the wrong class. So let me just wait for Jose to join in. Jose, welcome on the chat. I don't know if your audio is on yet, but there you go. Good. So yes, Jose, we do have to have the camera on, and let me repost the link for you. Please don't cover the camera. Oh, his Jose, please don't cover the camera unless you're not properly dressed, obviously. But we do need to be live on this one. This is the EOC review, and I'm recording it. So, in order for you to be able to receive your credit, which is an easy 100 as far as a test grade, you just have to participate, and that includes having the camera on. And the link to the Nearpod is available there on the chat. So, Jose, go and make sure you go and turn on the camera, please. Okay, then you're fine. Okay. All right. So let's continue. So those lymph nodes, or you want to, Sergio, I think your mic is still on, right?
Huh?
Go ahead and
Oh,
mute it
no.
because I'm actually hearing the echo.
Oh, I'm
So don't
sorry.
worry, don't worry. But when you want to participate, you take off the mute. So the lymph nodes are going to take care of doing that. This is what all this text is somewhat explaining. That it contains cells that produce protein particles capable of capturing harmful material that flow through the tissues of the lymph nodes, right? Different bodies that drain through there. So let's go to the actual question. It says which body systems. So remember, body systems is for instance, muscular system, skeletal system, nervous system, digestive system, endocrine system, lymphatic and immune system, how they work together, integumentary system, which is your skin, reproductive system, how they actually work together. And a lot of the test questions that you're going to see for EOC or your STAR test are set up in that route. How do they work together? Which is something that we usually don't talk about. We know what each item does or each organ system. We just don't know how to tie them together. And that's what we're going to do today. So which body systems are directly responsible for regulating these lymph nodes? and protecting body from harmful material. So first of all, lymph nodes belong to what system? Lymphatic system. So right, perfect. So that's when you want to unmute yourself, Sergio. Good job.
My
So yes, it's the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system goes in pair with what? What system? Immune.
immune system.
In fact, when we cover it, we say immune and lymphatic system. Technically, it's two separate systems. One is a drainage system, and the other one is the cellular system that attacks. But we tend to just look at them as immune and lymphatic system. Technically, it's two different ones. So go ahead and pick your answer. I'm not even going to go through the other ones. But while you're picking the answer, let's at least discuss what digestive does. What does digestive do in general? And that's even people from home. Just unmute yourself and participate. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not going to make you feel bad. I'm just going to say, well, that's not what we're looking for or whatever. But
Deshace la comida.
deshace la comida, right? So it actually breaks down food, and what do you obtain from the food?
Nutrients.
Nutrients. Perfect. You guys nailed it. So that's digestive system. It takes nutrients where? And it's almost like a trick question. Where do your nutrients go?
Your body.
Your body. So essentially whatever needs it. Does your brain need nutrients?
Maybe.
So does the digestive system take nutrients to the brain to work properly? Yeah. So it works together. How does it take, so it actually works with every single organ system, but how does it take the nutrients over to that different organ system or that different organ? How does it do it? And again, this is a vague answer. This is not.
Through the veins.
Through the veins and arteries, which is what system? Circulatory system. So you see how we're tying them together? There's actually going to be a few questions like that. So what about circulatory nervous system? Could we say, if we wanted to say, to take nutrients to the brain, what organ systems have to work together? What would be the answer for that?
Circulatory and digestive.
And what else? So you got both of those. And the nervous, because we're taking it to the brain. You see that? So you see how that works? That's how we're going to be putting them together. Good job. So Nailea and Alejandra, I still need your answer. And Andrew Vitella, I still need your answer. If not, it does not let me continue. This is kind of why we're having, I know sometimes it takes a little bit to load it, but you do need to pick an answer. Even if you get them wrong, I'm not going to single you out whether you get them right or wrong. But I will discuss, based on your answer, kind of like this is why it's not that answer, but I will not mention your name. So for instance, we have somebody that chose endocrine and digestive system. What does the endocrine system do? This is the last one we just covered. What does it do? Produces hormones. And what do hormones do? They're messengers. They're whip. And like, if they go to the kidneys, they're like, kidneys do this, right? They go to the thyroid, like, chicoteánole. It's like thyroid, release some more hormones too, right? And we had talked about pituitary gland and all the different hormones from there. So endocrine system releases hormones, which is nothing but chemical messengers to tell something to do something. That's it. So if I tell Rebecca, hey, go deliver a message to the secretary in the front, she's the hormone. She's the messenger. She's going to go tell the secretary to go do something, right? Keep that in mind. All right. So in this case, endocrine and digestive system are not the ones that take care of removing harmful material, right? They don't take care of that part. All right, let's continue. So there's the answer. We discussed it already. So I'm actually going to be discussing what the possible answer is before we get to the explanation, because the explanation is the same thing I'm doing, but I feel you guys are able to process the information better and determining an answer rather than finding out whether I was right or wrong. You guys. So next question says, the diagram demonstrates a feedback process involving an antidiuretic hormone called an ADH. It increases the permeability parts of the nephron of the kidneys, resulting in less water in the urine. This feedback loop likely to be activated when what happens? Well, that's a lot of fancy wording. Let's explain what the antidiuretic hormone does. Does anybody already know what the antidiuretic hormone does? Even from home, anybody? Based on the name, antidiuretic hormone. Does anybody know what it does?
Not pee. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes you not pee. That's correct. Because diuretic, you're going to be peeing. Yeah, it means that you're going to be producing urine. So, for instance, when it, Maybe something you guys can relate to. Well, not you guys purposely, but you maybe heard this. People that do drugs, they go and take diuretics because they're going to go get a drug test. And what does diuretic make them do? They make them urinate a lot to try to flush out the drugs, right? So an anti-diuretic would mean that it's going to tell the kidneys to not be urinating so much. That's what the anti-diuretic hormone does. It's just a messenger to tell the kidneys, hey, don't produce any more urine. So based on ideas, if you urinate too much, what's going to happen to you? This was diabetes insipidus, actually. We covered that one. So what happens if you start peeing too much? And I'm talking about
It starts to
excessively.
hurt.
You what?
It starts to hurt.
Could be. I mean,
And como que te arde.
actually, and this is what Sergio was kind of getting to. That is true if you were to have a urinary tract infection. But it's not that the urinating causes the burning. It's the fact that you have bacteria in there that's causing the burning. So we're going to stray away from that one. But that's actually a really good point. But what happens? And just put yourself. If I start peeing nonstop, I pee and I urinate for like 30 seconds. What was that, Solomon?
You get dehydrated.
You get dehydrated. You eventually get dehydrated. What happens when you do a lot of exercise and you start sweating a lot? Do you urinate a lot, or does your urine come out concentrated like dark yellow? Comes out dark yellow because what is it doing? Your body's like, nah, hold back that water. We're already sweating. We're already losing too much water. So you don't pee. Like you see those runners and they're running and they start drinking water. You don't see them stop and pee because their body's just sweating it out. So the anti-diuretic hormone is telling the kidneys, hey, don't urinate, bro. It's like we need to keep all that water in here. So when you
It's
do
the opposite
urinate,
of drinking too much water and then peeing every 5 seconds.
yes. Also, when you drink too much water, the anti-diuretic hormone does not activate because it says, nah, we got too much water in here. Let's just pee it out. So the anti-diuretic hormone is asleep. They're like, nah, I'm not sending any messages, right? So based on this, and if you click on the loop feedback, it tells you that the ADH changes the permeability. Yeah, permeability is a fancy word of saying it can reabsorb. It allows water to come back in, right? That's the fancy word, which you need to know what it is, but just making it simple for you. So water is reabsorbed to the blood, gets back over to the blood. It re-enters the kidney, and again, your brain says, or your pituitary gland, again, or hypothalamus, because that's where the antidiuretic hormone is, sends it over to the pituitary gland and says, hey, send out a signal that we still need to hold more water. So it keeps it doing a vicious circle. By doing that vicious circle, like the runners, or like you guys, when you guys have noticed that, what does it make your urine look like? Very yellow, which is your urine is concentrated. So based on this, let's get the answer. So when is your body going to say, hey, we need to hold water? When you experience dehydration? When your glucose levels are high or stable? Is it going to make your body pee more? No. Right? Well, that makes vice versa. If you have too much sugar, it's going to tell it to pee more, right? So it's not. We're not trying, when you have high glucose levels, we're not trying to make you stop peeing. Your body says you got to pee more. So definitely not antidiuretic hormone. When your body gets cold, does it say, hey, let's stop peeing? No, not really. What about the urinary tract when it's infected? So that was one of the ones Sergio mentioned. You actually urinate more because it's trying to flush out. So does it stop? No, you produce more. So it's definitely not D. So we're only left with one answer. Go ahead and pick it, which is the most correct answer that was there. And I'm only down to 2 people. Sergio, pick yours, and Andrew, pick your answer so I can continue. Yeah, it's all right. Sometimes it doesn't really do it. Perfect. I can continue. Good job. That was it. The what? Who's a little heart? Oh yeah, we see it. Oh, your cameras aren't on the recording. It's only the middle one that I'm seeing. This is the only thing that's on the recording, guys. By the way, so you guys don't come out. I got 3 screens. This is the one that's being recorded. You guys are on this side, which you guys can see my recording, and that's where I have my who's answered and who's not. So I have a triple screen on here. All right. Which of the following is an example of the endocrine system directly interacting with the nervous system? So remember what we talked about. Remember how we said like the digestive system do all that stuff, right? In this case, it's endocrine system, so it's talking about hormones and the way your brain's going to work. So let's see which one. Vertebrae belong to what organ system? What body system does the vertebrae belong to? Skeletal. It's the bones that cover your spinal cord, right? Does that have anything to do with endocrine? Nope. All right, that one's done. Hormones provide feedback. Yes, they do, right? We'll stop there. Hormones do provide feedback. They're the ones that say, either go work or don't go work, right? Okay. Now, the second part to that says that affects neural processing. Does it affect the way your brain decides to do things? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, it does. So would that be endocrine system and nervous system then? Yeah, good. So far we have the answer, apparently. Let's check the other ones. Sensory receptors. Are those nervous system? Yes. In the bones. To tell you about body position. Does that have to do with endocrine? No.
No.
All right, good. All right. The brain sends signal to control the speed at which food moves through the intestines. So the brain is nervous system, but the speed in which food travels through the intestines is different. And I'm going to explain that in a bit because some of you guys are going to be like, well, what about metabolism? Don't overthink things. I'll explain that right now. The brain would be nervous system. Food traveling through the intestines. What makes the intestines do a wave-like motion? In other words, what's the only thing in your body that can move? Muscles. So the smooth muscle and brain. Is that what we're dealing with? Are we dealing with muscular system? Oh, we said
No.
endocrine system and nervous system. Now, this is where it can get tricky, and this is why I said I'm going to explain this a little bit more. Does the endocrine system deal with metabolism? By whom? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a T. No, thymus is in here. You got it, Sergio. Thyroid, yes, the thyroid. So you got the first part right, thigh. So thyroid, right? Thyroid takes care of metabolism, but does metabolism have to deal with how fast you move? No. Metabolism deals with how fast you can absorb the nutrients and convert them into energy. See the difference? So metabolism is how fast you can digest food, not how fast you can move it through there. Because when you got diarrhea, there's a lot of water going into the intestines. Your intestines are just going, you're pretty much peeing through the back, right? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens. So keep that in mind, all right? So don't confuse the speed in which things move with metabolism. The speed in which they move is a signal that is sent to the intestines, which is muscle, smooth muscle, okay? All right, good. So you should have your answer already. So endocrine system and nervous system. The only thing here that talks about a hormone and the nervous system, there's only one answer that says that specifically. In fact, it uses the actual nervous system word in there. So Nailea, and I need mine in there. I haven't put there. I put my answer. And I need Francisco. So remember, I do have one person that chose vertebrae to protect spinal cord. That one answer that one person put, you might have chosen in the beginning. You might have been convinced by something. Let me explain that real quick. Vertebrae is your bones that are here, your bones that are right smack in the center, that they cover up your spinal cord. So, in fact, let me explain. Let me show you with the pictures. Spinal cord. I should have just put vertebrae. Oh, there we go. Actually, it'll be fine. Let's see, which picture? Oh, this is perfect. This will work. Let me share the screen so you guys can see this. Wrong one. All right. So this is your spinal cord, the one's right smack in the center, right? This other stuff you're seeing on the outside is your vertebrae. Your vertebrae, so your vertebral column or your vertebrae, is the bones So I should have just. Oh, that works. That's the bones you see there. Your spinal cord is running right in the center of it. That yellow part. So based on this image, vertebrae is skeletal and spinal cord is nervous system. So does that match? See, even here, you see it here too. Does that match with that first answer? You know, vertebrae protect spinal cord. Does that match with endocrine system? No. That would be skeletal and nervous. So hopefully that shines some light to the two students that put A as the answer. So it's hormones. So again, hormones provide feedback that affect neural processing. Hormones, endocrine system. Neural processing, that's your nervous system. Good job. Next one. Recent studies in bone research indicate that using ultrasound on a broken bone can decrease the healing time by 25%. So we're talking about that ultrasound, just like when they use a little machine to check for pregnancies, that's ultrasound, right? So it says that if we use ultrasound on a broken bone, it means the super vibration, the high frequency sound that it's creating on ultrasound is decreasing the healing time by 25%. So it can't heal us fast. That's not what the question is even going to ask. But at the most basic level, what organization deals with healing bone? So first of all, what is the most basic life form? What is it?
Atoms?
Life form.
Cells.
Cells. Yes. So it can't be atoms because that's the smallest, right? But life form would be a cell. Cells, when they get together, what do they make? Tissue.
Tissue.
Is bone tissue? Is a piece of bone tissue? Yes or no? Everybody looks at me like they're nodding with me at the same time. But is it yes or no?
Yes, please.
It's tissue. A piece of bone is a tissue. What about the whole bone? That's an organ. The whole skeletal system is based on bone organ, right? Bone is an organ. But a piece of bone is tissue. Yeah, part of a tissue. So it's talking about how bone heals. Is it talking about a whole bone? No, it's just talking about a portion of the bone. So a portion of the bone would be bone tissue. So what do we have as the most basic levels of organization involved in bone healing? There you go. Pick your answer. In fact, I didn't even cover the other stuff. It was just I stuck with that first answer essentially. Don't want to confuse you. So all I need is Sergio, you got yours, and Andrew. I'm just missing yours, and that's it. All right, and Andrew, that's the last one pending. So I do have one person that picked tissue and organ. Tissue and organ system, and organism. Let me just break that down for you. Why not? Tissue would be the cells put together. So it would be a piece of bone and the whole bone working together. Is that the way it works? No. It's the piece of bone with the cells to regenerate. So it'd be cells and tissues. Does that make sense? Not the organ system, because that piece of bone is not working with the rest of the bones to fix itself. It's only working with the cells at the microscopic level to heal. That's all it's working with. So it's cells and tissues. I hope that sheds some light. A student, this one's a funky one, but we're going to break this down and you'll get it actually really easy. A student studying interactions between body systems constructs this table. The student plans to fill out the table with phrases that describe an interaction between each pairs. Click the picture and make it big. Click the picture and make it big. That's all you need to see. We're going to actually break this down. So, bone working with bone. What does it do? Give me an idea what it can do. Plus, just be there. Okay, bone with bone. What about circulatory with bone? What can it do? Transporting calcium? Does the bones need calcium? Sure, perfect. What about circulatory and muscle? The what? What is, just like I said with skeletal system and circulatory, it's going to take calcium. What is that? Yes, it's a mineral, but what is it? What do we usually call stuff for food? What do we usually say when food is going to be delivered around your body? The food is starts with an N. Nutrients. So the circulatory system and the muscular system, what can possibly be used? What can the circulatory system do for the muscle system? Circulatory system can take nutrients to the muscles. What about digestive and circulatory? You're on the same track. It's really all about the same thing. So what can the digestive system and circulatory take care of? Remember, you just said right now nutrients for the muscles. Where are we going to get nutrients from? Do we absorb them just by touching them? No. So we use the digestive system. We're going to use digestive system to absorb nutrients, and the circulatory system is going to take them wherever it's needed. Remember, we actually said that in the beginning with the brain about taking, right? All right. What about circulatory and respiratory? That's a basic one. What happens in the lungs?
Oxygen
Oxygen and CO2 gets exchanged. How do we transport it to the rest of the body that needs it?
through the circulatory system.
Circulatory system through the cells. That's correct. So again, circulatory system takes the oxygen, CO2, which is nutrients. It takes it to the rest of the body. Perfect. What about circulatory and urinary? What do the kidneys do to the circulatory system? What's the biggest purpose of the kidneys? The absolute biggest purpose of kidneys. What do? This is going back to like 7th grade, 6th grade, whatever. What? It cleans the blood. It filters the blood, right? So how do they work? How does circulatory and urinary system work? Well, it takes blood over to the kidneys for both nutrients and for filtering of the blood and reabsorption of water, right? We've been talking about that one. What about circulatory and nervous system? Again, back to the basic one. Nutrients. It's going to take nutrients and signals like the endocrine system. It's going to take signals or the chemicals, right? It's going to move them around in the brain to the rest of the body. Perfect. Easy, right? And you can do that with all of them. You tie it like that. So this is actually showing us the X, digestive and muscular. What can digestive deal with muscles? Give me what does the digestive system have to do with muscles? Without even looking at the possible answers. You tell me, what does the digestive system, muscular system have in common that they work together?
To digest the food.
To digest food. Yes. That's perfect. Because what? Does a muscle itself digest food? No, what does it do? It moves the food, right? So the digestive system, as it travels through, can do what to the food? Absorb it. And then, who's going to go deliver that food? You've been saying them over and over, Marisol. Who's going to take the nutrients where? Who transports nutrients?
The circulatory system.
Circulatory system. That's right. So you just tied digestive and muscular, and you even tied circulatory in there. So now you have 3, right? That's perfect. So digestive and muscular is going to deal with moving food around for digestion to absorb nutrients so the circulatory system can take them somewhere. Perfect. Let's see what we have for answers. Does the digestive system take nutrients to the kidneys? Possibly through the circulatory system, but we're not talking about circulatory, we're talking about muscular system. All right, so no, right? Kidneys have nothing to do with muscles. All right. Nutrients and brain cells. Does muscle have anything to do with nutrients or the digestive system? Nah. And here it is, Marisol. It's all you. What about nutrients to nerve cells? Yeah, but does the muscular system have to do with that? No. What about nutrients to muscles? Do muscles need nutrients? Yeah. Where do you get nutrients from? Digestive system, and who delivers them? Circulatory. So just take away the middleman. That's all they're doing. Does the digestive system provide nutrients to the muscles? Yeah. So is that your answer? If you think that's your answer, pick it. Good job. So that breakdown of that table is going to happen a bunch of times, by the way, on a lot of the questions. Just keep bridging them. How do they work together? There might not be a middleman, but always picture the middleman. Okay? Like if they were to say, how does it just have to deal with the brain? And they throw in there because it takes nutrients to the brain. Yeah, it does take nutrients, but it's actually the circulatory system. But that's how you can tie them together. So keep those things in mind. All right, let's go to the next one. You guys are doing very well. The female reproductive system and the endocrine systems, they work interactively for which main purpose? This is simple again. Don't think about it too much. What is the purpose of the female reproductive system? What's the purpose of it?
Reproduce.
To give you the pain in the butt every month? No, that's not what it does. What's the purpose of the female reproductive system? The name's telling you what it's for. For reproduction. And how does the endocrine system tell? Estrogen and progesterone and maybe luteinizing hormone, right? The endocrine system tells the brain, hey, it's time to get rid of an ovum. Let's go send it off. Hopefully a sperm will get to it. And they do that every month, right? And every month, nothing happens. Reproductive system sends a signal again to the brain to tell it, hey, I'm not pregnant, dude. Go ahead and flush that down with the blood. All right. And that's what the uterus does. It gets rid of the ovum, right? So that's how the female reproductive system and the endocrine system work. To control hormone levels to prepare the body for pregnancy. Yes, remember, it's all chemical messengers. Endocrine system tells the female reproductive system, it's that time of the month again. And ovaries are like, all right, I get to work. Boom, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, so let me explain the cramps. Just because, I mean, we're not in that section right now, but because we're not going to cover reproductive system, but you might have something in there similar to it. So this is what happens with cramps. Your egg is microscopic, right? Is the egg blood? No. The egg is a microscopic cell, right? The blood is a lining. That's correct. So the uterus, as it prepares to get pregnant, it thinks that, I mean, essentially the female reproductive system says, I have to get ready and make a perfect little house for that egg in case a sperm does get to the egg and it gets fertilized so it can attach itself to the wall and develop a baby. So every time the wall or the lining of the uterus builds up, gets a little bit thicker to provide good nutrients and good attachment. And every month that you don't get pregnant, the uterus sends a signal to the brain that says, hey, there's no chamaco. There's no baby coming along. So your brain says, well, we got to get rid of that wall. Let's tear down that house and build another house next month, right? So what does it do? It tears down the lining. Well, the only way that you can move things around your body, just like the digestive system, is through what? Muscles, right? Pushing out with little muscles. Well, the uterus is made out of muscle, smooth muscle. So every month, your uterus starts contracting and doing a wave-like motion, doing all this junk in there to flush out the lining to get rid of that blood. So the blood is not the egg. The blood is actually the wall of the uterus. So every month, you're flushing out that blood, which is the lining of the uterus. This is why sometimes when you don't get a period for a month and it skips, what happens the next month? Is it a big flow? Yeah, because that wall got even thicker and it's like, it's got to get rid of it. Same thing happens with some people, and this is, I mean, there's so many variations. You might have your period every month, and every month you bleed a lot, right? And that just means that every time it's a hormonal imbalance, and really what's happening is that every time it's excessively building and excessively getting rid of the wall, right? Eventually, it can cause a problem where there's called endometriosis, and that's the abnormal thickening of the endometrium, which is the inner portion of the uterus, the lining. So that's a lot of extra information, guys. Food for thought. Let's continue. Nailea, I'm still missing your answer. And Alejandra, I'm still missing your answer. Andrew, Vitela, and Francisco. So for some of you guys that put to maintain homeostasis, removing waste products, not really. Endocrine system, do they maintain homeostasis? Yes. But who takes care of removing the waste products? The kidneys do. So the kidneys don't have to deal with the reproductive system. For those of you that put a number A or letter A, you kind of understand why that's not the answer. All right, and let's continue. So the answer was control hormones to prepare the body for pregnancy. Reproductive system, pregnancy. Hormones, well, to engage in what needs to happen, just like testosterone, right? In the males, it would be testosterone to produce sperm and have libido, which is to be able to have an erection so you can have sexual intercourse and produce a baby eventually, right? That's the idea. Yes, ma'am. Sergio, Emiliano, and what was your name? Francisco. Do any of you guys want to volunteer for an EKG? You're good? Are you sure? All right. Just remember, one day you'll be on that side asking for volunteers. All right. Next question. Good job, you guys. You guys are doing very well. I hope you guys are learning and I'm able to explain all these things enough that you can really understand them because it really makes a difference. An individual who participates in a long distance run on a hot day is going to be sweating their pants off, right? They're going to be producing large quantities of sweat. As a result of excessive sweating, the amount of urine produced by the kidneys will change. Without reading the rest of it, what does that change? Because we said it. You're exercising a lot. You're sweating a lot.
Urine.
Urine. What's happening with the urine?
It's decreasing.
It's decreasing, and as a result, the urine becomes a lot more concentrated, right? Okay, remember that. Let's continue. How would the kidneys respond to help individual's body maintain homeostasis? So, is dehydration getting out of balance? If you're too dehydrated, does that mean your body is no longer in homeostasis? So in other words, breaking down to simpler terms, if you're losing too much water and you're dehydrated, is your body in a state of equilibrium?
No.
No, it's not. So what is it going to do to maintain that homeostasis? The what? Nah, well, not the blood. There's a whole bigger picture behind that, yes, but that's not what we're looking for. So we kind of just said it right now with what was going on with the endocrine system. So what does it do? It decreases what? Urination. For what? To conserve water and yes. And now that's going to tie to what Sergio was saying because of the blood. If you don't have enough water, is there enough water in the bloodstream? So in the circulatory system? No. So you're trying to maintain that. The homeostasis you're trying to maintain is the amount of water in your circulatory system because your body needs water to function because your cells are pretty much made out of water too, right? Okay. So let's see what happens here. And actually, exactly what Emiliano said is in there. So the kidneys will decrease urine production to allow the body to conserve water. Good. All right, pick your answer. So again, because some of you guys haven't picked your answer, that way you kind of understand. If you're producing too much sweat, you start dehydrating, right? That's why they tell you, make sure you drink water, right? But if you're not drinking water, and you're just sweating, the antidiuretic hormone, which is coming from your endocrine system, is going to tell the kidneys, hey, what is it going to tell it? Should you urinate or should you not be urinating? You should not be urinating, right? Because, hey, dude, we're already losing a lot of water from sweating. All right, so we're tying it very well. Good. The human body is composed of organ systems. Which list represents a system organized from the least to the most complex? So, this is an easy answer. It doesn't mean it's going to be this simple on your EOC. But what is the smallest living organism from your body? A cell. First of all, which is the only one here that starts with a cell as the first one from least?
C.
C. So we kind of know the answer already, but let's just break it down so we ensure it. You get a bunch of cells put together and it gives you what? Tissue. A piece of muscle would be called muscle tissue. A piece of muscle would be muscle tissue. You put that whole muscle tissue together and it creates a An organ, which would be a one specific muscle per se. The bicep, it's giving it a name. It could be a quadriceps, it could be a triceps. I mean, trapezius, triceps, right? Extensors, flexors. I mean, it could be any of those, right? But putting tissues together is going to give you an actual muscle. Perfect. You put a bunch of muscles together, and that what system does it give you? Muscular system. Perfect. A system of muscles, yeah. Yes, so you should have your answer already. Smallest is what? And then? And then? Organ, and then? Organ system. So you just put that exact same information, putting it belonging to a specific name. That's perfect. What about A? Tell me about A. What's happening there? It's going backwards. That's exactly right. You nailed it. Good job, man. That's exactly going backwards. Is the heart the organ? Yeah. What is the heart made out of? Muscle. Which type of muscle? Cardiac muscle. And that cardiac muscle, if I grab a piece of it, what is it? Muscle tissue. And then if I grab that muscle tissue and I take off an itty bitty piece and I look at it in a microscope, I'm going to look at muscle cells. Good. You're doing very well. Good job, guys. I think you guys are going to kick butt. As long as you continue figuring out answers like that. I know you don't have the same amount of time in a test with the amount of time we're spending, but that's how you need to break them down. You need to break down what the question is asking you. Because some of you guys that are getting it wrong, you're telling me out loud the answer, but you're precipitating yourself to picking an answer really quick. Be careful with what you're reading, okay? How do the circulatory system and immune system work together to respond to an injury? So, without even reading the answers, circulatory takes care of what? Moving what?
Blood cells.
Blood cells and nutrients and anything in the blood, right? Nutrients, white blood cells, pink blood cells. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, right? So anything that needs to circulate. It could be poison, right? A toxin. Does the circulatory system take care of that? Yeah, it's going to travel and make it go everywhere, right? Okay. So just picture circulatory system. That's what it does. And your immune system takes care of what? Fights off bacteria. With what type of cells?
White cells.
All right. So now let's picture this. So we said circulatory system takes care of transporting blood nutrients, right, or anything else, right? So we're going to say circulatory system does transportation, and the immune system attacks foreign material with what type of cells? So just put those together. Circulatory system transports what? White blood cells. All right. Let's see what we have there as far as your answers. So if I cut your foot, I'm not going to go cut your foot, but let's say, I'm not going to say I cut your foot. You're running around barefoot, como chango, como chango en la casa suelto, right? And you step on a piece of nail or you scratch yourself with a nail and you bleed, right? Now there's a possible infection there. That's a site of injury. How and what do we use to fight off bacteria there? So say it. With the, how does it get there? The circulatory system transports the white blood cell to the injury. Yeah. Is that an answer? Yep, that's exactly the answer without even reading the answers. You see what I mean? You can come up with how they work together. Good job. Andrew, you're the only one left. And I think we only have this last question and we're done. All right. So I do have one person that put increased blood flow kills healthy cells. We don't. Giving more blood flow to your body. In other words, just to give you an idea with what whoever chose that, what your train of thought is. You're telling me that when I go run, my heart beats faster, right? So does that increase my circulatory system, the way it transports stuff? Yeah. So you're telling me when I go run, the fact that my circulatory system is pumping more blood everywhere, it's going to kill my healthy cells? No, it's going to feed my healthy cells more because they need them. Yeah, but see, that's not even yeah, but that's a whole different story. That's something else. But increased blood flow does not hurt a healthy cell. It does not kill the healthy cell. It's just going to transport more things. It's going to be circling through there, right? When you go run. So it would not be A. That for the person who put A. And this is the last one. Which two body systems must directly interact for vertebrate organisms to exchange gases? And we're not talking about farts, so it's not the digestive system, muscular system. So it's talking about gases. What type of gases are we exchanging? The most basic fundamental gases that we need to live. Oxygen and carbon dioxide. So your CO2 and O2, right? So those are actively interchanging. Where does that happen? In the lungs and, well, let's go with the lungs. Respiratory system, right? So your lungs belong to a respiratory system. So it's respiratory system, and how does the oxygen get transported in the CO2? Circulatory system. So which two organisms take care of exchanging gases? Circulatory and respiratory. Good job. That's it. Good job. Good job. Now, not to confuse you, but we also exchange, and you guys pick your answer already, right? We also exchange gases at the cellular level anaerobically, which means that it's not exposed to the air. So in other words, when that oxygen gets transported to a body cell, it also exchanges the oxygen there. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? All right, then that's it. Thank you guys so much for participating. You guys did a great job. We're gonna continue this on the next class, so I'm glad you guys are understanding this, and I'll be right with you guys. All right? Well, we're
Bye,
done
sir.
until the next class. Take care.